All right, hey everybody, welcome back to Smirking Gun. This one's going to be short and sweet. This little intro because I don't have any real notes about this one. I just really wish that I had released this one about the movie Freaks when I made it. This is I really think that this was a good video that I made. I had a lot of interesting things to say about it. I didn't know that I was going to have the reaction to this movie that I had, and so enjoy my thoughts on Freaks. Yeah. This is the last one. I thought I could make Slumber Party Massacre work, but I'm not sure I like that video. And there's a couple of people out there that have done a way better job at it. And since I actually like Slumber Party Massacre, I'll either have to redo the video or just say go check out Joe Blow Movies Slumber Party Massacre video. Did a lot more research. So enjoy this video, and hopefully in 2024 we'll have a regular ass Halloween. Bye. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, and we are back yet again for more Halloween 2021 reviews. Done a lot of stuff, and I was trying to figure out, like, as I'm getting ready to wrap up this year's videos, I was trying to decide how I wanted to start getting to the end of these. Like, what were the last few films? And I was on the fence about this one because I just didn't know, like, how would I talk about this? Like, I was afraid of this one, and I decided on it anyway because I've been meaning to see this movie since the 90s, somewhere in the 90s when I heard about this. And tonight we're talking about 1932's Freaks, the film by Todd Browning. That, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's been written about this, and I mean, it was included among the American Film Institute's 1998 list of the 400 movies nominated for the top 100 greatest American movies. Now, this is a controversial film. It's been said that it's one of Guillermo del Toro's favorite movies of all time. Now, if you don't know what this movie is, it's like an hour and 1 minute long. Like almost to the letter. It's like 1 hour and 1 minute and 49 seconds. It's from MGM, and we're going to talk about it. So if you're liking what we're doing here on the channel, as always, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you're not a subscriber. It helps with my motivation. And of course, always to the returning subscribers, how you doing? Welcome back. Again, new people, welcome to the conversation. So, the plot of this movie, right, is as such, if we can. A circus's beautiful trapeze artist agrees to marry the leader of sideshow performers, but his deformed friends discover she is only marrying him for his inheritance. There's actually a better description of this in an overview, actually, that says... when trapeze artist Cleopatra, played by Olga Baklanova, learns that circus midget Hans, played by Harry Earls, has an inheritance, she marries the lovesick diminutive performer, all the while planning to steal his fortune and run off with her lover, strongman Hercules, played by Henry Victor. When Hans' friends and fellow performers discover what is going on, they band together and carry out a brutal revenge that leaves Hercules and Cleopatra knowing what it truly means to be a freak. Now, yes, like I said, this was directed by Todd Browning and was released on February 12th, 1932. Like, what was it, 43 years before I was born. And it makes this movie 89 years old. So this one is a very much older movie. The oldest one we've covered was Maltese Falcon, and that was 1941. So that was 9 years prior to this. Now, like I said, this is a controversial movie. I don't have to tell you any of that. Like, if I have to tell you that and you've never heard of this before, well, here we'll give you some knowledge. So, this movie was based off of this thing called Spurs, and then Todd Browning was trying to make this. Todd Browning himself, the director, came from circus. He'd been around circus performers. He'd been around sideshows, and he was going to try to make this movie, and it was even back then. It was, people were trying to stop this movie from being made. Big stars at the time were asked to be in this movie, and they didn't want to do it. There's all sorts of controversy around the making of the movie, and people not wanting, these people that are there's no the quote unquote freaks in this movie, the people, the human beings in this movie. You know, a lot of people's reactions to them caused a lot of uproar, and a lot of people didn't want to be around them, and people, the stars even had to be slowly introduced because, and even by today's standards, right? I guess people, there's just going to be people that can't handle this kind of thing, and it's sad, and some people freak out, and some people want to faint, and all this stuff, but I had a person in my family a long time ago. He is long since passed. And I don't know, I can't remember if I've talked about this on another video, but there was an offshoot of my family who lived in this real, I think like Edward Scissorhands' house, or like the Addams Family house, like the scary house that doesn't fit in anywhere, right? The house that everybody walks past real quick and holds their breath. It looked like a house that was just amongst all the modern looking houses, and this is like the late 70s, early 80s, it looked like a haunted house. And the people that lived inside, that are some distant relative of mine, were like this offshoot of a bygone era. I'm trying to be nice about it and not say, kind of mean terms for the kind of people that they were. Because I have very vague memories of them, and they seemed nice enough, like that they were who they were. And one of them was a person named Chucky. And Chucky was he was an adult, but he had the body of a child, like a body of an infant, but he had a head the size of like a full-sized watermelon. He had water on the brain. And I saw that when I was very young. And after seeing that, I kind of was fine with anything like that. And I've seen a lot of stuff. And so when I see freaks, I myself personally just see people. Like as I was watching this entire movie, I just saw people. These are real people that have real genetic defects. The way they were born, they can't help it. It's not their fault, and they're just people. Some of them have had deformities that, you could tell affected their, ability to think properly, like and by properly, I mean, they weren't all there, but they were still nice, smiling people. They had hearts and souls and wants and needs and desires, as much as they could think of them as. And I watched this movie through that lens, and while I know a lot of them, regretted doing it, denounced it because of it being exploitative. And it's 1932. I don't know what to say about it. Like, I am sure that this does feel exploitive. But there's a real story here, and these people were taking it seriously. All these actors, they were really in it. I didn't feel like I was watching. I mean, you could catch them sometimes looking at the camera, because these aren't trained professional actors, really. Most of them, they're performers. A lot of them are performers, but they're not Hollywood actors, even though I guess it was said that some of them started to go Hollywood a little, like wearing sunglasses and being a little like difficult and like wanting certain things, which is like I think is kind of funny. It's like, yeah, fuck it, right? Get like this is their one shot. Be divas. Go out. Ask for those M&Ms that you want. Don't ask for the. Tell them you want all the green M&Ms. I don't even know if they had M&Ms out there, but you know what I'm saying. Um, and so I looked at this through that lens, that these were just people performing in a movie, and to be honest, to be really honest, I really liked it. I didn't look at it as like some weird oddity. I looked at it as such. There's a performer named Cleopatra, and she's the trapeze artist, and she's causing all kinds of havoc all over. She's the pretty one, and she's kind of just gets into like everywhere she goes. You know, she's kind of smiling to your face and laughing behind your back. She's one the kind of that kind of person. But the character of Hans, who was 30 years old when this came out, and he's a man, but he's a little person, and he's quite taken with her because she's always so nice to him. And Frida, who was his like girl, even though in real life the actors are played by brother and sister. Um, he dismisses the love of the woman Frida who loves him and cares about him because he's just so taken with this woman, and in her he probably sees like like what if I was normal. But the guy also happens to come from a shitload of money. Like it sounds like he doesn't really have to do this, you know? He's there's a whole thing about the money. They don't go into it. It's an hour-long movie. But he lets her, influence his decisions, and they get married. And I'm spoiling this, guys, so see it. It's like an hour long. So come back after you've watched this for an hour, all right? You guys can watch Squid Game. You can watch an hour-long movie called Freaks. And that show's more of a freak show than this to me. So she marries him, and they have a big old wedding party. And what she's planning on doing is murdering him, Hans, by poisoning him and then taking his money. His big ass inheritance he's going to get. And she's going to run off with Hercules and la la la, and live their lives. And, you know. And they have this great big wedding feast, which is where we get the gooble gobble, one of us, we accept her, one of us, one of us. And I knew about that scene. I'd seen a clip of that scene, and I was just like, what is going on? What is this? It piqued my interest. Never once was I looking at this and going, look at those people and laughing at them. You know what I mean? I don't think that little kids should watch this movie because that it would either scare them or they wouldn't know what to make of it. And I think it's kind of hard for parents of kids of a certain age to have empathy for, first off, to understand this, to not laugh. So this is definitely an adults only movie, or when you get to a maturity where you can sit in the room and watch this and not laugh like a dick. Like, I can see a lot of teenagers just being fucking assholes about this, and then I'm glad I'm watching this when I'm now 46 years old, Get all that stupid shit out of my system. Because I don't know how I would react. I mean, like I said, I saw this kind of thing when I was young, and I was a Jehovah's Witness for a really long time, so, there was this kind of, as bad as that cult was, I had this kind of, like, empathy for people even back then, like, so I don't know. But, so in that scene, it gets kind of, it always seemed crazier than it really is. It's just, they're literally trying to say that they accept this normal person into their group, and she's drunk, and she just freaks out on all of them. No pun intended. She throws this big glass of champagne in there, and in that champagne, she'd been poisoning her husband. And he's embarrassed by her, and she picks him up and carries him around, and the doctor finds out that he'd been poisoned and that she gave him something that like saved him, and so it's kind of like she poisons him and saves him so that she looks like a hero. They never explain, well, who would have poisoned me? But all the freaks know after that moment, like at the party and everything else, they're watching her, they're paying attention to what she's going on. We know and they know she's poisoning him slowly so that he'll die, and it'll look like he just got sick and died. And even Hans, realizes what's going on. They tell him what they've seen, and in the end, they're traveling to the next town, and one of the other workers there that's very nice, played named Venus, she knows what's going on, and Hercules goes to kill her, and her boyfriend, whose name is Frozzo, he's like a clown in the circus. He comes and defends her. Frozzo's played by Wallace Ford, and Venus is played by Layla Hyams. There's a whole thing where they're fighting. Like Hercules is trying to kill her to shut her up because she knows about the whole thing. And meanwhile, Hans is setting up Cleopatra with the other people to take her out for what she did. And the whole caravan like starts to fall apart. There's a big fight between Hercules and Frozzo, in the mud, and the freaks base. I shouldn't say it like that. It's hard to say it like not say the word freaks. But the sideshow performers, because they're not, it's just the name, and they say it a lot, and so it's kind of stuck in my head. The sideshow performers want revenge. They want to, there's a line that they say at the beginning of this movie saying that it's said that if you offend one, you offend them all. And so they stab Hans to death, and we don't see that. We see him get stabbed once, and then they all kind of come after him, and it's really very, very scary, kind of. Like, it's very effective seeing this guy, like, trying to get away, and they're all just coming at him. And Cleopatra, on the other hand, runs and is chased into the woods, and we don't see what they do to her. We see the aftermath of what they've done to her, because it's a callback from the beginning. Again, they show her, like, this was Cleopatra, and everybody screams when they look at her. And what they did, and they never say how they did it or what the hell, but they turned her into, like, she has the top half of, like, a woman and the bottom half of a fucking chicken. And she's all like, "Bakak, bakak," and it's ridiculous and insane. But she got hers. And the thing is I guess if you wanted to be pissed about it, you would say that these are people, regular people, and they are human people, and that they'd be more likely the victims of a crime than to perpetrate a crime. That the idea of them going all vigilante and attacking and killing these people, they'd be more likely that would happen to them than they would do that. And I absolutely agree. But we're talking about a movie where these people decide to get revenge for what these two jerk-offs did, and they get it. And I was very entertained in a way. Entertained is the wrong word. I was fascinated by watching this. Because I'm watching something from 1932, and I can tell you right now for fucking sure I have never seen anything like this, and definitely not. And I was definitely shocked by what it was for 1932. They got away with a lot, and I heard this was cut back from 90 minutes. And by today's standards, I think it's pretty tame, but there are moments of just kind of unease that I had watching it. But also, I just kind of felt sad. I felt sad because, it's like you can't kind of help it. Like you see these people who just genetically got the wrong end of the stick, like... I don't know how to say it without sounding like, I don't know if I'm saying it the right way now. Like, You know, when you think you got problems, you know. Um, but I thought that the acting. I mean, considering that these are performers, most of these people are performers. Some of the regular actors, because there's actors in this, like the guy who plays Frozzo and Roscoe and Venus and Cleopatra and Hercules and some of the other guys that work there. They're you can tell they're actors, but the performers that had to act, I thought it was an amazing job. And however they edited it, the whole thing together, because I'm sure there were times when it was just like trying to get like to see like different shots and saying like, okay, we need you to be like this and we need to see, and maybe they had to just wait around for that kind of reaction or whatever from some of these performers. But however this got made, they really made a very watchable movie. And I thought that the script, considering for the time, and a lot of the dialogue and I really thought it was pretty well written for 1932. And that's not me being glib or like, oh, we're just so great here and now. But like, since a lot of my experience with movies this old, let alone something controversial like this, is very limited, I was surprised at how well written it was. I thought the script was fantastic for a quick hour-long movie. And to me, an hour is like a short film, really. It's an hour of television. Um, it's real easy to just be pissed off at movies like this and say I would never watch that. I feel like it's exploitative and wrong. And the thing is like it's been 89 years since this movie came out. It was banned for a really long time, and I can see why it would why in some ways and everything. And I heard that nobody even knows really anymore. There's no evidence of what was on the other parts that got cut out. There's like talk of what was in some of those scenes. That there's a extended version of the man that's just a torso who lights his own cigarette, and that was actually like really interesting watching him light his own cigarette. But apparently, you also see him roll his own cigarette too and everything, and they cut that down. But all in all, and this is the hardest review I've had to do. There's been movies I didn't know how to talk about. There's movies I didn't even want to talk, like Bats. I didn't want to talk about that movie because it was just not good. It was so awful that I just was like, fuck, man. I wish I just skipped that movie. But this, on the other hand, however you feel about it, I applaud. I thought the performers did really, really good. I thought that it was an excellent movie for what it is. But I can understand why it would just no, and make you sad or mad or feel like, but it's been 89 years and all these people have passed on. One of the greatest things I liked seeing as I looked through their each performers, like not the actors, but their performers, and I looked them all up, and I looked at their birthday and when they died, and maybe that you think, why would you do that? Well, a lot of people that have these kind of problems, you hear about like low mortality rates and not living very long, and you wouldn't think that they live very long, but a lot of these people lived very full, long lives, and I like to think that once they got this movie into their rearview mirror, they were able to live their lives, find some, however any of us get through this life, right? But a lot of these people lived for like 80, 90 years, and living with that kind of condition and the varying degrees of conditions that they were in and under, I don't know. I just applaud these people for living. I don't know if that I feel like I'm digging myself a hole, but it's like I really, when you think you've got it bad in this world, and you see people with this kind of problem, the problems that would come with this being born this way. It puts perspective on some of the things that we complain about, like wearing masks. Oh God, I could not. Oh no, I have to go into a grocery store for 10 minutes and wear a mask. Now imagine having to try to get through your life without a torso. Or bottom half of your, like just being a torso or being just the upper half. Imagine everybody going and thinking everywhere you go that you're a child and you're a full-grown adult. And we got people that can't even follow simple instructions like that. And I ain't trying to make this into a mass thing. I'm just saying I'm trying to compare it to something today that we can't even do. And these people had this kind of thing in front of their whole lives to have in front of them, and they managed to push through and live lives and get through things and survived a lot of terrible things. In 1932, I mean, there were diseases back then that were wiping out the fucking country just like today with polio and smallpox and shit. And these people that were born during that and lived through that and had these problems and still lived full lives and made a movie about them. And you know what? They seemed more normal to me and more accepting of each other and themselves than most people are now about regular ass people that we see every day. So anyway, that's Freaks. And I really liked it. I really did. I thought that these actors, I really liked Hans. I really liked the actor who plays Hans, and I really liked the actress who played Frida. I thought everybody was really great. And it just, I think back on that kid named Chucky. And I hope that young me who met him was nice. I'm sure that I probably didn't know much of what to say to him. And I don't recall being a jerk about it. But I hope that that's how it was. Because you have to, when you see this, you have to start thinking about empathy and how we need to care for each other, and I know that this is like a bit of a down kind of review, but that's how I feel. So anyway, if you liked this review, that's kind of a weird way to end it. If you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications. If you thought, oh my God, why did he watch that movie? That son of a bitch, just perpetuating the exploitation of the people that were in it. Well, we can give you a better memory. So those of you who did like what I had to say, please put on shades, look away. If you have a sensitivity to light, do not look right into this motherfucker, as we'll give the people the last 28 minutes or so back. All right, we will see you on the next one of these. Have a great night, everybody. Happy Halloween!